Welcome to Marketing Recap, the weekly roundtable that gives you an inside peek into the latest news from the world of digital marketing and what it means for your business to help you stay ahead of the curve. Co-hosted by Cynthia Johnson of Rank Lab, Blake Jamieson of BlakeJamieson.com, and BJ Smith from The Busy Marketer. Ready to join the conversation? Let's get to today's headlines. Welcome to Marketing Recap. In this episode, we're talking about new Twitter tools, ads, video, and more exposure, plus wrapping up some of our Super Bowl chats with a few stats. So here we go with Marketing Recap. If you're watching us live on the Google Hangout, we want to hear from you. We want you to join in with a live Twitter chat using the hashtag MRcap. We want questions, comments. Want to share your thoughts and feelings about what's going on in the marketing news. So jump in the chat right now on Twitter, hashtag MRCap. So this is the part where I normally introduce today's round table. And well, tonight,
not so round.
Yeah, it's definitely a straight line between me and Blake here. Cynthia is out of the country, and so we're going to be missing her. But we do have live from Phoenix, Arizona, Mr. Blake Jamieson. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Happy to be here. Although, actually, I would rather be traveling the globe like Cynthia, but also happy to be here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Doing the show live from another country would be kind of cool, too.
Absolutely.
But I know not everybody has the luxury of the internet speed that we have here.
Yeah. I was... I just lost my train of thought. Yeah. I was speaking about going all over the world. I was thinking when I first started this that every time I do an episode, I would try and have my computer in a different place. So I did one, at the office, and then one kind of in the staging office at the house. And now I've been here for a couple times. So.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to.
Got to change the scenery, man.
Yeah, I know it. I've got the same gray background. Actually, I had a green background the first time, but it's the same wall. Right?
Yeah.
All right, well, first thing we want to do tonight is kind of go back and recap and talk about some of the things that we left open in the last episode. We had Jeff Sheehan. I did it again. Jeff Sheehan. For some reason, I think I'm saying it right. I see it right in my head, and I say it wrong. So it's Jeff Sheehan, and I apologize to Jeff. But we had Jeff on last week, and we were talking about some Super Bowl ads, the not-so-popular GoDaddy ad, and the much more popular Budweiser ad. And we actually ended up talking about the different things that were happening on Facebook and on Twitter and on YouTube, and we were curious about how the whole Super Bowl experience was going to play out in social media. So I've got a couple stats for you guys. So if we look at it, last year, around 50 million unique users joined the conversation on Facebook. So 50 million unique people. This year, they had more than 65 million participating, and part of that probably had to do with their unique experience that they had where you could actually go in. If you went to facebook.com/Super Bowl, you could see engagement from your friends when they were talking about the Super Bowl. You could see ads as they were coming in, and it was a completely unique Facebook experience. During the time, they saw 265 million posts, likes, and comments. And in the final moments, this is pretty cool. And in the final moments on Facebook, more than 1.3 million unique people per minute were in there. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So I would say that Facebook kind of knocked it out of the park over the Super Bowl. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I was off in the woods over the weekend, and I purposefully kind of put myself away from home and away from kind of technology because I do live in Phoenix, and the Super Bowl was here, and I just wanted to avoid all the crazies and the aftermath. So I actually didn't watch the Super Bowl live. I did listen. I was driving home. I was in a small town called Idlewild, California, and I was driving home in the fourth quarter, so I did listen to it on on the radio, which is interesting because I haven't really listened to a sports game on the radio, and you kind of, you do have your commercial breaks, but in terms of the difference between audio only over the car radio versus the multi-screen experience that people get at their home, it's so different. It was interesting.
Yeah, and well, okay, so you just screwed up my next question. I was going to ask if you used any social media during the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And
I didn't.
it comes down to old habits for me. So I think the first thing I did was I checked Facebook because I really wanted to see what was going on, what this new experience was going to be like. And I was actually half watching the Super Bowl, half doing work. So I was preparing for class the next day, and I ended up defaulting back to Twitter. So, when things were happening in the game, it was my comfort zone to just bring out Twitter, make a quick comment, and then send it off with the SB49 hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
So, since we're talking about Twitter a little bit, let's talk about some of the stats that Twitter had. Now, keep in mind, 65 million people participated on Facebook, and there was 265 million posts, comments, and likes. There were 28.4 million tweets during the Super Bowl, and it's actually, when you look at last year's tweets were 24.9 million. So, what 3.5 million additional tweets, which is actually a pretty good raise from the year before. They had less. Let's see, it was 2013 is 24.1 million versus 24.9 million in 2014. So there was a slight increase in 2014, but a pretty decent bump. But man, when you compare it to those Facebook numbers, it's not even close.
It's interesting to think about that because, I'm curious, and maybe you know the answer because you pulled this data. Are they going off of the use of hashtags plus, if they just say Super Bowl in a tweet, it doesn't have to have a hashtag. I'm sure it gets counted. But it seems to me like there would be tweets where there are a lot of people out there that don't care about hashtags because they're just recreational Twitter users and they're just tweeting to their 100 followers or whatever. So I wonder if people are saying like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that last call," and that gets glossed over because it doesn't hit any keywords that might be too broad. If Twitter just said, "Okay, everything that says call is going to be counted as a tweet for the Super Bowl during these 3 hours," that seems like that would be too broad. But if they're
they were looking at individual player names. They were looking at city names, obviously team names, things like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So every time Tom Brady's name was mentioned, that was going to get counted in there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so the next battle. So that was the battle of interaction. That was the battle of engagement, and Facebook really brought their A game this year, I think. And the other player in the game is YouTube, and I don't really have any decent stats for them that actually says how they did versus Facebook. But the one stat that I do have is that YouTube users spent, it was 4 million hours watching game day ads and other teasers, and that was a massive jump from 2.2 million hours over last year.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of ad roll. That's a lot of pre-roll time.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those people were looking for the GoDaddy ad with the dogs in it.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at, I don't know if you spend any time on YouTube after the Super Bowl, but it was everywhere. They were pointing you. They were telling you to come in and watch the ads. I actually had an assignment for my students to create a web page that had links to their 2 favorite Super Bowl ads of the season.
Nice.
And it was very easy. I did that on Monday, so this was the day after the Super Bowl. And they pull up the YouTube homepage, and all the ads are right there. So they were all about, pushing those Super Bowl ads and making sure everybody was in there watching them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting because you think about, the immense budget that it takes to get an actual ad that's aired during the Super Bowl, but you get so much more than, obviously the millions of eyeballs that see it live, but now with the internet and digital marketing, I mean, that industry is booming weeks or months before the game where you're already seeing stuff, GoDaddy's ad got pulled before it ever aired, but it still got millions and millions of views, probably more than your average commercial. So that's kind of, it's cool how that's kind of evolving. I know. So Ben, who's listening, says he spent most of the Super Bowl on Twitter. Claire said Twitter, also Snapchat was a rising platform.
Yeah, the
Timothy.
Snapchat quote, that was an interesting quote or comment in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just I messaged people making fun. Oh, people making fun of halftime Snapchat. So that that's cool because you talk about like earned media and paid media, and that's a good example of earned media where you're not advertising for it, but like something like Left Shark. It's amazing to me how big of an industry now Left Shark is. People are selling T-shirts and mugs and making memes and greeting cards, and it's crazy. And it was just, that wasn't planned, but it was just all organic after the fact.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun to watch. I remember watching that during the Super Bowl. What in the world is going on here? And as a matter of fact, at the end of the halftime show, when Katy Perry was flying around on a star with fireworks coming out the backside of it, all I could picture was the old TV spot that would say "The more you know," and it had like the star with the rainbow that flew over the back of it. And so that was one of the things I actually tweeted that out at the end of the halftime show, and hashtag. I was throwing hashtags up there, and Twitter tells you what hashtags are popular at the moment, and halftime popped up there, so I just topped that in there and let it roll. So I was one of the people who were in there making fun of them at halftime too.
Mm-hmm. Just reading some Twitter stuff. Yeah, I mean it was interesting. For me, this is the first time that I had been removed from it, but I felt like I didn't miss that much because I did listen to the end of the game on the radio, so I heard the plays. But in terms of all the advertising stuff, I feel like I saw a lot of the ads beforehand, and then afterwards, obviously, I came in and made sure that if there was anything I needed to know, and that's when I found out about Left Shark and that whole thing. So it's cool that I can feel like I was there for the experience, but I was off in the woods.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next story. So I think that's going to kind of try to wrap up the Super Bowl thing. I think everybody's had enough of it by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's so much going on with Twitter right now. It's exciting, and I don't know. Twitter's really trying to step up their game and trying to get a little more exposure. You want to tell us about some of the fun things that they got going on?
Yeah. So with Facebook getting more into video, kind of trying to rival YouTube, and we've talked about kind of increased reach and more a new layout for the video stuff. Facebook was only a few steps or days ahead of Twitter, and so Twitter is now making video a lot easier. And it's cool for me because I've started, instead of if somebody's mentioned.
You there? Oh, Blake froze up. Stand by. All right, don't you love live internet show? Oh, there he is. Hey, I hear you.
Oh, do you lose me for a minute?
Yeah, I lost you. You're just kind of like this.
Where did I start?
Anybody on the Twitter chat? If you guys lost him, let us know. Or is it just me? Yeah, there's the more you know. Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
that. I'm sorry. I was just checking out Twitter, and Claire did the more you know star with Katy Perry hanging from it, so that's perfect. Thank you.
Yes, yep, that's that's awesome.
That's
so
going.
I'm not sure where I got cut off, but essentially
pretty much at the beginning.
Okay, well, Facebook is giving YouTube a run for its money in terms of video stuff, with a new video layout for pages, as well as very increased organic reach for video content that's uploaded natively versus linked. And Twitter kind of came into the video game less than a week, it seems like, afterwards, and is really trying to push and promote more video content. And so it's really easy to record a tweet and make it a video instead of just a text tweet. And so I've been lately, when people are commenting or messaging me, I will reply with just a super quick video, which for me takes probably less time than it would for me to type out something. And the only frustrating part is that when you're in, it's like a threaded conversation, where you're replying back and forth. The video doesn't just show. It doesn't show. They have to click, kind of like it used to be with, or it still is, if you share a picture. Sometimes you'll have to click to expand it. So what I've been doing is I've been recording a quick video for my replies, and then I will put little emojis in the tweet itself that basically just have like the little finger that's kind of pointing down, and then a camera emoji, and then another finger. So I haven't done it a ton, maybe 10 people, 15 people in the last day or two, but it's the people that actually see the tweet and then watch the video. They're like, wow, that was really thoughtful or really cool. So I think that's like a huge opportunity, and for me, because I know that it's so important to start producing more video content for Facebook, and I'm talking about both my clients and also just my personal brand, it's nice that I can just whip out my phone and tweet to people, and in a sense I'm getting more and more comfortable being recorded, because this isn't something I'm doing multiple times. I just give it a shot. Sometimes I make a mistake, or I say or whatever, and I just send the tweet because it is what it is. And I think it's really cool because it's kind of just raw and natural looking, and it's also getting me more and more comfortable putting stuff out on social media and me being in a video on the fly. So I think that's super exciting for me right now.
So let me ask you this. I haven't really played around with it much other than seeing the button on, and I actually had to look for it to realize it was there, because you have to go in where the camera is, where you normally take a picture. You click that, and then there's the option for the record. So do you have the option to upload a video? So if I wanted to go into Twitter on my desktop and I had a branded video that I want to promote, just like I would do on Instagram probably, that's something that I can just upload to Twitter?
Yes, as far as I know. I'm actually trying to do it right now on my desktop, but it's being slow. On your phone, you can upload from your phone's library. So yeah, I mean, you can upload a file. So the interesting, when you're recording the live videos, the little tweet videos, it's a max of 30 seconds, which is kind of cool because it's obviously quite a bit more than a Vine or an Instagram, but I find myself running out of that 30 seconds pretty quickly, so it's good to kind of keep me in check. If you upload something, I'm really not sure, and that would probably be the best, like, Cynthia question, or just trying it.
Gotcha. So yeah, I haven't played with it yet, and I'm starting to enjoy the stats that Twitter is allowing us to have, and they're trying to give us a few more tools. And one of those tools I think that we've got that was just announced, I believe it was yesterday, is Twitter's Quick Promote program that you can use by going in and checking out your tweet statistics and finding the tweets with the highest engagement and then easily promote it. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think it's cool. I think that Facebook has done a pretty good job at making it more user-friendly and encouraging more like small business owners that are afraid of running Facebook ads to be like, hey, just try it. Here's the little, if you have a page, it'll pop up the little guide that says, step 1, this is how you promote your page. You click here. It makes an ad. It goes to these people. I think they've done a good job of that. I think that where it gets a bad rap is, the truth is, it's still kind of an art form or a science, depending on, I guess, how you look at it. And if you were completely clueless and have never run any type of advertising before, you could potentially be taken advantage of. And I don't think that's intentional, but I think that when you get as big numbers as Facebook has of users, there will be people that get taken advantage of, and then they, bitch and moan about it, and it becomes an issue. So I feel like Twitter until now has been very. It seems like there's a bigger barrier to entry to promote on Twitter. Now, I've used the Twitter ad, kind of builder and their little analytics dashboard and whatnot, and it's really pretty straightforward. But I think the perception is that it's complicated. And this is saying, hey, no, we're not complicated. We just, we haven't been focusing on monetizing to the average daily user right now, and now we're starting to get in that direction. So if from what I understand, you can do a quick promote on a tweet, and you can target people that are essentially a lookalike audience of the people that follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, so basically what you do is you look in your analytics. So your what is it, analytics.twitter.com, and it will show you your tweets, and you pick the one that has the best engagement. You click on that, and there's your button. And to do quick promote, you click on that, and it gives you a couple of options. And really, there's three options, and it's $10, $20, or $50. It's how much you want to spend. And they estimate based on your audience. Well, they say they I don't know. Everyone that I looked at, no matter what the engagement was the same. So for $10, I got 25 estimated reach. $20, I got an estimated 50 reach, and for $50, I got an estimated 130 reach. So yeah, it was a lookalike audience. So what they do is they estimate the. Let me look at the verbiage here. Of course, I'm not going to find it right when I need it, but essentially, what they're saying is that they're going to look at your followers, and they're going to take the traits of your followers and create the new audience based on that. So yeah, exactly like you said, a lookalike audience. But
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't call it that.
Yeah. Well, maybe because Facebook's kind of coined that term, so I don't know.
Yeah, but there is an ad now in tailored audiences, which is Twitter's version of custom audiences. They actually have a lookalike only option, so you can tweet your stuff out and have it use a lookalike audience and not show it to your own audience, so it only goes to that lookalike audience, which is kind of interesting.
Now, where that kind of what I think when I hear that, and I guess it's the same thing on Facebook, but a lot of people bought Twitter followers back when, and I think that this has calmed down. Maybe that's speculation, but when it was kind of really new frontier for social media, and it seemed like the only KPIs, or things that people are measuring were like likes and followers. Right. That's like what the vanity metric was. I think there's a lot of brands that went out and bought 5, 10, 100,000 followers, and I know that those kind of things get purged from time to time. Twitter will go through and remove inactive or spammy-looking accounts. But I think the reality is there's a lot of small businesses out there that probably did that, and although I'm not one of them, I can't blame them, I guess, if they didn't know better at the time.
Right.
But now, I mean, that's really going to bite them in the ass because, what they're going to try and promote to a lookalike audience that's a bunch of foreign accounts that don't. It's Twitter doesn't have.
That button's going to be.
Yeah,
the button's going to be useless to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's really interesting to me because I think that there were a lot of brands that were probably close and then resisted because they're like, no, we have our morals, we have our standards. Those people finally are going to have a benefit because, from the same thing from a consumer standpoint, it was like, oh, the brand that has the most followers is the one that I can trust the most. I don't think that that's necessarily the mindset now, but I think there was a time when there were a lot of people that thought that way. Yeah. So, those brands might have suffered a little bit at the time, but if they were building a legitimate, engaged, real people audience, now they're finally going to be like, cool, we're getting rewarded for that.
Yeah. And I think the easy lesson here is that you don't necessarily need to try to take the quick way out. Go get you a pixel, and it's not that hard to create pixels from Twitter and from Facebook, and put those on your site and let them start collecting data about the people who really want to engage with you, and then build your audiences. That's one of the great ways to build your audiences, and also from your email list. Mm-hmm. And if you are one of those poor people that bought all those users and have absolutely no engagement, because you've got a high amount of users and only a few people actually interact with you, then you're either gonna have to figure out how to purge some stuff or take another route for sure.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see Because those are the kind of people that were like, oh, well, I want to be good at Twitter. I'm willing to invest $50 in it, and they thought at the time that was the best move.
Yeah.
And now, Twitter's basically giving them this quick thing to be like, hey, you want to be better at Twitter and reach more people? Here's a button to spend $50 and do it. It seems to me like those are kind of the same type of people that are going to be like, yeah, let's give this a shot, and then it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out for Twitter and the users that try.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's going to be so many Facebook comparisons to the boost post, like you said, and this is going to be kind of a trial and error thing. I want to try it. I want to give it a shot just to see how it works. I feel pretty comfortable with my audience. I've done my due diligence in with the people I've connected with, and hopefully I would actually return a pretty decent lookalike audience.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give it a shot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I have on that. I got to try it. And I'm totally willing to just give it a shot. I mean, my followers are real, and I don't know. I think that with the kind of tying it into the video content that I've been doing, if I can, I think if I can get a good system down for that and start to see a lift, because so far, I mean, it's such a small sample size, sending out 10 videos, but the people that saw them are like, wow, this is really cool. That's really exciting to see, and if I can scale that up a little bit and just improve my engagement because I'm changing my content delivery, then that might be a good time to say, all right, now I'm going to start promoting some of these tweets. Like I did my Ask Gary V show question via a Twitter video last night, and hopefully I will get on tomorrow's episode.
That's interesting. Doesn't he only take Instagram stuff now?
He sets rules like that, but then he sees a creative one and then he puts it on the show, and then he's like, "Oh man, you didn't go by the rules, but I like what you did there." So he had the one of his later episodes talked about some Twitter stuff, and then he linked to another video that was specifically about Twitter videos and how he's using it to thank people, and it was cool because this was like one day after I was already thanking people, so I'm kind of getting validated, by one of my heroes, and so I figured sending him a video about it was on Twitter was only appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely, perfect. Hey, so I want to talk about one more thing with Twitter, and before we wrap up tonight. So Twitter is actually trying to get their exposure out there a little bit more. All the stuff we're talking about now, the video, the quick promote, all that kind of stuff is happening on Twitter, but Twitter is going back off of Twitter. And was it a week or two ago, I think it was last week, they actually announced that they were doing ads pushed to Flipboard. So when you're using your Flipboard magazine, and hopefully you're subscribed to the Marketing Recap Flipboard magazine, you may actually see Twitter ads appear inside of your Flipboard. So it's in a different place now. And something else that came out this week is that tweets are now going to be shown again in Google search.
Yes, I did see that. That's exciting, I think.
I think so. Yeah. So if I read it correctly, and this is not a new thing. They actually let their contract expire. They had this, I think it expired in 2011 with Google, and so they're bringing it back in. But it's supposed to be timely. So when somebody's doing a Twitter search, I think they're trying to really tie into the real-time aspect of it. So if somebody is currently tweeting about this subject that somebody is searching for, then it's going to go ahead and pull that up there. It's not looking at indexing and pulling something from a year ago. It's actually current.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really cool, in my opinion. I think that's going to be fantastic, especially because I think I've in the last few years gotten more and more into Twitter and using it way more hands-on than I used to just schedule and schedule stuff in Buffer or Hootsuite and keep my content flowing and every once in a while check my mentions and thank some followers. But now I'm jumping into conversations and we're talking about actual things.
Yeah.
And so if people are Googling something that I'm having a conversation with about on Twitter and they can find me, I think that's fantastic.
I absolutely agree. That's very cool. So I'm excited about it. I hope. Facebook is really kind of taken over, and well, I mean, there's no kind of about it. Facebook has definitely taken over, and you can tell by Twitter's numbers over the last quarter, the last year or so, that their growth has really slowed. It is growing, but it's at like a snail's pace, I guess. And doing this with the ads and doing it with, especially with the Google platform, I think it's really going to expose Twitter, and hopefully it'll help more people understand how Twitter is supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Blake, you have anything else you want to add for the stories tonight?
No. Well, I guess I could just say it because I was typing a response to Claire. So Claire and Tim and Ben are talking about Facebook and how it's being, it's mainstream, being vital for business, especially small business. They have all this massive targeting. I totally agree. I think for 95% of the use cases, Facebook is a spot that a small business should be. Where I think that changes, especially in terms of small businesses that can only focus their effort in a finite number of places, is if your target market, and I'm stealing this example from Gary Vaynerchuk, but he said if you're selling pink selfie sticks that hold your iPhone, and your target market is 14-year-old girls, it's probably not Facebook where you're going to sell those sticks. It's probably Instagram or maybe Vine, maybe Snapchat.
Right.
I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I think for a blanket statement, Facebook's definitely mainstream, has the most data, has the most audience. But sometimes the best way to reach your audience is to go where people aren't, because there's less competition, especially for small businesses that can't afford to keep up with, going head to head with the competition.
For those of you listening, I am getting ready to do asking about it. We were talking about the marketing recap flipboard. I am in the process of tweeting out the link. So here it comes. Hashtag.
Yep, Tim was saying he's got to subscribe to the clipboard or to the flipboard.
There you go, Timothy. Live.
Nice.
So if anybody thinks that we're not out there actually typing and reading and doing all this stuff while we're doing the live broadcast, there's your example right there. So.
Nice.
All right. Well, I think we've had enough fun for 1 week, and we're definitely looking forward to having Cynthia back to work with us and give us a hand. And we missed her, but I'm sure she'll be back with us next week, and hopefully her throat is all better.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cynthia, we missed you. Remember, for any of you out there who are watching and listening, to join us next Thursday at the same time, which is going to be 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. On Twitter, the hashtag is MRcap. And Blake, you want to leave us with some final thoughts and tell us what you got going on, how to connect with you, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, final thoughts. If I was giving just about anyone advice that is entrepreneurial, building a brand for themselves or for whatever, just start shooting video content and do it however you're most comfortable. If you want to put it on Facebook and do longer form, do it. But I think an easy way to dive in is just pull out your phone, and next time you're going to type a tweet, you just choose picture, and then you can choose camera, and then you can switch it to video. And just take videos and try it and let me know how it works. And the best way to contact me on Twitter is at Blake Jamieson, Jamieson, or BlakeJamieson.com.
Great. And you can go ahead and I'll throw a plug in for Cynthia. So check out Cynthia's, I'm assuming she's going to be here on Tuesday, next Tuesday. Check out Cynthia's live Twitter chat. It happens on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and the hashtag for Cynthia's chat is hashtag #TheSMGirl, which stands for the social media girl. And check her out on Twitter at Cynthia Live. For me, again, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at BJ Smith Strategy. And check out my other show, the Busy Marketer Podcast. I recorded 3 new interviews with some awesome marketers this week. Really looking forward to season 2 of the show. So that's going to be coming out real soon. If you know of anybody you think would be a great fit for the show, please send them my way. You can email me, bj@thebusymarketer.com. And thanks to everybody who's joined us live on the Hangout and on the hashtag MRcap Twitter chat. Go ahead and mark your calendars for the same time next week. We'll see you then.
Yep.
Hold on. Thanks for joining Marketing Recap, the show that gives you a peek inside the world of digital marketing. Remember to join us next Thursday for the live show at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Google+, or Twitter using hashtag MRCap. And please tell your friends about the show, subscribe via iTunes or Stitcher, and view all episodes and news stories at marketingrecap.com. See you next week.